Islam Makhachev has turned down the fight against Ian Garry because he needs more time. Now, Ian Garry posted this earlier on today to his Instagram and he reaffirmed this. He said, "I'm ready. He needs more time. Imagine being the #1 pound for pound fighter on the planet and needing more time." So Ian Garry's pissed. Now, why is Ian Garry pissed, you might ask? And I will tell you. If you can see from the flag in the back, Ian Garry is currently training in Georgia. Now, why is that significant, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. In his last post-fight interview from his last fight, Ian Garry said something regarding Georgia and his potential next fight. I'm going to roll the video so you can watch it.
I promise you, I told you at that interview, I'm coming to Georgia. I told all of you, I will come to Georgia because Georgia has phenomenal wrestling.
So he's coming to Georgia. He's coming to Georgia to train. He's training his wrestling. Why are you training your wrestling, Ian Garry?
Phenomenal judo, phenomenal sambo. And when you are trying to prepare for someone like Islam Makhachev, I'm going to need that.
Ian Garry hypothetically was going to go to Georgia when he got wind of the fact that he might be fighting Islam Makhachev so he can train with the best guys that are going to prepare him for Islam Makhachev.
So Georgia, I'm hollering to you guys. I'm going to need your help. So every southpaw wrestler, every guy that thinks he's going to be like Islam Makhachev, we need to find a place. I will see you there and I will call for your help.
Ian Garry really thought he was getting the Islam Makhachev fight. He still might be getting that fight. We're going to get into this in today's video. But yeah, he's in Georgia. He's training. Look at his face. That is a man who is pissed off right now. And why is Islam Makhachev not fighting Ian Garry? Well, I'll tell you. Islam Makhachev's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, went on Twitter earlier on today. And he said, I can tell you the UFC are working on a big fight with Islam Makhachev. And Ian Garry's name is not involved. Plain and simple. Ian Garry's name is not involved. Shut up. I saw this and I was dying. As you can see, people are already speculating on who it might be. We're going to get into that. Ian Garry's name is not involved. Much bigger. So they're throwing shade on Ian Garry out of the blue. Ian Garry's catching strays here. One of the biggest fights in the UFC that they can make right now. Stay tuned. Now the question is, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Because Ian Garry, he's out in Georgia, and you can't see up in the top corner where my face is, but there's the Georgian flag, and he's posting these clips. He's trying to aura farm in Georgia, in the mats. He's got Layla following him, going backwards like this. Hey, Layla, film this fucking video with me right now. Walking around on our mats to try and generate some hype for the Islam fight. Oh my God. And it's just not happening for him. It's not happening for him at all. Ali Abdelaziz, Ian's name is not involved. Now the question is, who's it going to be? And people were speculating, they were dropping this edit, the famous edit that has been going around. But the question is it going to be Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev? Now, I'm here to talk about that because we've kind of already got the answer. Now, I don't know if you've been scanning MMA Twitter recently or not, but Ilia Topuria has been saying things online, and Islam Makhachev just last year, the back end of last year, so a couple months ago, he did an interview with Brett Okamoto on ESPN MMA where he was saying how much he wants to fight Ilia Topuria at the White House. The fact that it's going to be the biggest fight for the MMA community, and we're going to watch it.
He wants to fight in White House, and I also want to be there.
So he's saying he wants to fight in the White House, and Ilia also wants to do that. So it seems like the White House thing is lining up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would. Is that the biggest fight for you, do you think? And again, I know, I almost don't like asking these questions because I know you got a big fight in front of you. But is that the biggest?
And this is obviously before the fight against JDM.
Fight that they could.
I
make
think
for you,
yeah, for the it's gonna be big for MMA community. It's gonna be big fights,
Mm-hmm.
And people want this fight, and if UFC want this fight, and we can do this.
So he's saying he's aware the MMA community want this fight. It's a big fight. And it goes hand in hand with what Ali Abdelaziz was saying. One of the biggest fights the UFC can make right now. Stay tuned. But the thing is, following this, Ilia Topuria the other day went on Aiden Ross's stream and he was talking about the White House card. He was talking about his next opponent, and he said that he's going to be fighting this summer, but he doesn't know if he's going to be fighting on the White House card yet. He basically has said the UFC haven't reached out to him to talk about the White House card. And this was after the UFC supposedly, because Dana White made an announcement and basically said, after the second week of February, we're going to have the White House card figured out. We're going to have the main event figured out. And this was on February 26th. So this was after that window. And this is what Ilia Topuria said. Now, bear in mind, if the UFC had made this fight for the White House card, Ilia would be in the know. He would be aware of what's happening.
When the fuck are you fighting?
In summer, hopefully.
Summer?
Yeah.
Well, define summer, because I'm going to ask you, man. The White House card. White House?
If I'm fighting in the White House, I don't know.
So Ilia doesn't know if he's fighting at the White House, which is really interesting because logic would say, unless the UFC are still making fights without telling the fighters, because they've done that before, we've had scandals of it before, but if this was the case and that Ilia was booked for the White House, he would know.
I don't know. You don't say to the UFC how to make fights and where they have to put you, and they don't tell you how to fight. So this is basically how it works.
So you don't tell the UFC how to make fights, they don't tell you how to fight. They just tell you when there's a fight booked and they ask you, is this opponent okay? Yes, let's run it. But Ilia Topuria doesn't know anything about that so far, which is weird because if the White House event has been match made, he would know.
So as of right now, there's no White House. As of right now.
As of right now, I have no fucking idea what's.
As of right now, he has no fucking idea at all, which just reaffirms what I was saying a minute ago. And it's weird. It's really weird. Who the fuck is going to be main event at the White House? Maybe John Jones versus Alex Pereira, because John Jones has previously said, literally last week, that he's in negotiations to main event the White House. So maybe they've just done a pivot. Jones was never in the run-ins for it. Dana White didn't trust him to be the main event of that event. But it seems like it's changed now. And likelihood, we might be getting Alex Pereira versus John Jones. But that kind of rules out Ilia Topuria, which makes sense because he hasn't heard anything about the White House event.
What's going on?
What?
Yeah.
So have you been hit up at all to fight in the summer yet, or no?
I know that I'm gonna fight in summer, but I don't have any specific date or.
So he's not got a date. No one's been reaching out to him at all, which is strange. So Ilia Topuria's next fight is still in the works. Nothing concrete at all, which is strange. Once again, White House, main event, you should know at this stage.
Place that I know that I'm gonna fight.
But you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
And, well...
He's ready. So have the UFC pivoted? Were they originally going to do Ilia versus Justin? I don't know. Seems like now they're going with Jones versus Pereira. Ilia Topuria is not in the know-how, which is really weird. And it kind of doubles down because Ilia Topuria, not that long ago, February 18th, so literally about a week ago, 2 weeks ago now, he did an interview where he basically said a fight against Ilia Topuria is definitely not happening at the White House. Topuria already has opponents lined up, and this is the weird thing. It's not like they're even talking about doing Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria at a later date. He said that Ilia already has opponents lined up, and the UFC isn't interested in that fight right now. That's coming from Islam. So the question is, what the fuck's happening? We're gonna watch this little interview.
No, show us.
And I'm gonna translate. I'm gonna translate because it's in Russian. So he said, we're still discussing an approximate date for my fight. Even if it's not at the White House, it will be around that time. I'm not ruling out the White House option either. As of today, that's the most likely scenario. And then the interviewer said, is it fair to say that a fight with Topuria at the White House definitely won't happen? And Islam says back, yes, I think it definitely won't be at the White House. Because he has already got opponents lined up and the UFC isn't interested in that fight right now. So that's strange. It's really weird. It seems like this isn't happening. So the likelihood is we're probably going to get Ilia Topuria versus either Justin Gaethje or Arman Tsarukyan at a later date that isn't the White House. Which is also strange because Justin Gaethje is an American and the only other option at this stage, because the likelihood is that they want an American headlining that card, is that they're going to do John Jones. It's all sort of, all the roads are leading up to that. JDM versus Carlos Prates has just been made official for May the 2nd, the UFC Perth card. So it's not going to be Carlos Prates. So I think it makes sense that his next opponent is going to be Michael Morales. Now, the question that I have, considering Ali Abdelaziz was saying that this is one of the biggest fights that UFC can make right now, stay tuned. Is Islam Makhachev versus Ian Garry not a bigger fight than Islam Makhachev versus Michael Morales? Because I personally think so. And I'm not biased because I'm not a massive fan of Ian Garry. But the question is Michael Morales versus Islam Makhachev bigger than Ian Garry versus Islam Makhachev? I don't know. So it really begs the question, if it's not this guy, who's it going to be? Could it be? Could it be McGregor? No, it's not McGregor. There's no fucking way McGregor comes back to an immediate title shot at welterweight against Islam Makhachev. No, it's not happening. There's bubbles about, is it Kamaru Usman? But no, it's not going to be Kamaru Usman. That would be absolute violation to the MMA community. Absolute violation to the MMA community. So it seems like it's going to be Islam Makhachev versus Michael Morales, or, Islam Makhachev versus Ian Garry, even though he's out in Georgia at the moment training for nothing. I'm only kidding. It's not a wasted trip. People travel the world all the time to train and get better licks. People go to Thailand all the time. People go to Georgia all the time. So Ian Garry, just treat it as another holiday, brother. Enjoy the cold weather over in Georgia because it seems like you're not getting your title shot for a little bit of time still. And as I said, I think it's probably going to be Michael Morales, but Ali Abdelaziz, what the fuck are you talking about? The biggest fight the UFC can make right now. I think Ian Garry versus Islam Makhachev could be bigger, but Ali Abdelaziz shut that shit down. Unless the UFC pivot and say, we're doing Ian Garry and there's nothing you can do about it. But it's just strange to me. And I know Ramadan is on at the moment, so let's say Ramadan finishes. There's still, 9 weeks until the White House card, but apparently Islam Makhachev needs more. So I don't know. I really don't know. What do you think? Please let me know who you think this is going to be against. Islam Makhachev against who? I think it's going to be either Michael Morales or Ian Garry. You never know. Imagine if they pull McGregor out of the fucking Lamborghini yacht, yeah? Throw him in against Islam, the grudge match part 2, coming off of a fucking loss. Crazy scenes if that happens. It's not going to happen. But I don't know. Feel free to let me know what you think. I'd be really curious to see what you guys make of all of this, because it just seems like a massive sort of line of confusement, right? For me, anyway. It seems like we're going to get Ilia Topuria versus either Justin Gaethje or Arman Tsarukyan, but Ilia doesn't know, and it's not going to be at the White House. Islam Makhachev versus maybe Ian Garry, even though he got it shut down, or Michael Morales. And then John Jones versus Alex Pereira at the White House, maybe. I don't know. It's all up in the air at the moment. But please let me know what you think. I have no idea. But that is going to be it. That's going to be the video today. I just wanted to run this kind of things by you just to see what your opinion is. So let me know in the comments who you think it's going to be. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.